Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be doing this optical illusion, hand grabbing your face situation. Again, I know that I kill it with the titles. I don't know what I ended up deciding calling this, probably hand out of face situation. So, you know what it's called because you can read the title of this video. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for stopping by. It is the second Halloween look for my Blonde and Suspicious Halloween series this year. I'm super stoked about it. I thought this one was really fun. It is a recreation of a look that I found. I will show you. And the original person was Teka Art at TEKAART _. And it looks like this. Yeah. So it looks really cool. I really liked the way that she did it, so I wanted to recreate it this year. And this is kind of what I came up with. I will leave her handle in the description as well. She's super talented. And it was awesome to gain some inspiration from her this year. So this is the look that we're going to be doing. So if you want to see how to get this, please keep watching. Okay, so today's ghost story is about one of my favorite Charleston, South Carolina ghosts, Lavinia Fisher, and she's actually the first female serial killer in the United States. So she is a real person. That's where the story begins. I learned about her when I was in South Carolina last summer, and Charleston's one of my favorite cities in the entire United States, so I had such a good time, and it is rich in creepy ghost history. So let's talk about Lavinia Fisher. She was born sometime in 1793. We don't have an exact date. And she died February 18th, 1820. So she lived in the United States for most of her life. She was married to John Fisher, and they were both highway robbers, which was a capital offense at the time. But they weren't ever convicted of murder. So historians have talked a lot about the traditional legend of Lavinia Fisher. There are some things that have been made up since the times. You know, people have added and embellished here and there to the story, but I'm going to tell the typical story that usually gets told when you're in Charleston. So to start, she was a part of a large gang of highwaywomen who operated out of a house, two houses, I believe, near Charleston, the 5 Mile House and the 6 Mile House. So they were named these because that's how far they were out of the city. And outlaws hid there. People stopped there as like a motel of sorts to stay until they got into the city, because obviously people didn't have cars at this time. So 5 or 6 miles was quite a stretch. She and her husband owned the inn, so they resided there as well as operated it for highway guests. During their time owning the 6 Mile House, there were lots of reports made to the local sheriff about guests disappearing or never making it to their final destination. But because there wasn't a lot of evidence at the time, and due to, the couple having a pretty good reputation with the locals in the area, the complaints basically came to nothing. So nobody could prove that they were doing anything. So it kind of went under the rug there for a while. So basically, here's how her story goes. So she invited a man in to the house, and they were planning on stealing from him and robbing him, and he needed a place to sleep, so he didn't know that they were, robbers and thieves. So the legend goes that they had a special tea that they would make the men that would put them to sleep for a few hours in a really heavy, deep sleep so that they could ransack their belongings and then, steal from them and kill them. So how it goes is, in the room that they put the men in to sleep, once they were asleep, they would pull a lever, the floor would drop, the bed would collapse, and the victim would be put into a pit. Some people are of the idea that there were spikes waiting at the bottom of the pit, but that has never been confirmed, so they probably were just killed by Lavinia and John in a more typical fashion with guns and that kind of thing, or knives. But much of what happened there in the pit happened at the hands of John, and Lavinia was like the mastermind behind it all. So she didn't really like to get her hands dirty, and John did a lot of her dirty work. So based on the accounts that happened, basically, a man called John Peoples asked if there are any vacancies in their inn one night, and Lavinia replied that there wasn't any room, but he was welcome to come inside and rest and have some tea. This is her famous murder tea. John didn't like tea, but he didn't want to be rude, so he actually dumped it out when she wasn't looking. And then she was really confused later as to why he wasn't falling asleep, because she wanted to steal his stuff. And so she realized eventually that, you know, he didn't really drink all of the tea because he was not falling asleep. But she thought maybe it would be okay. He would just fall asleep on his own. She said late into the evening that she, in fact, discovered that they actually did have a spot for him, even though originally she said they didn't. And he did go to bed, but he had felt like really nervous about their whole interaction and was a little bit worried about being robbed. So he decided, instead of sleeping in the bed, that he would sleep in the wooden chair by the door. And then in the middle of the night, he awoke to the really loud sound of the bed collapsing in, and he discovered the pit and the Fishers' plan to rob him and murder him. He jumped out the window, grabbed his horse, and rode all the way to Charleston to tell the police what happened. And based on this account, they were finally able to identify who was doing this by name, the Fishers, John and Lavinia, and, you know, law enforcement were able to take that as enough evidence to arrest them. They were located and they surrendered. John Fisher surrendered in an effort to protect Lavinia and shield her from being arrested. However, he eventually did give her up, and they were both arrested. So they were tried and executed on the gallows in front of the Old City Jail in Charleston. And basically, a reverend read aloud a letter that John had composed, and he pretty much threw Lavinia totally under the bus and was like, she made me do it, I had no part in this, like, I was hoodwinked, she's a witch, and all of these terrible things. And basically she was said right before she was hanged to have yelled, "If any of you have a message for the devil, tell me now, for I shall be seeing him shortly." So she wasn't really sorry about what she did. She was super evil. And it is said that her ghost haunts the old Charleston jailhouse, and tourists still claim to see sightings of her ghostly apparition. And that is the story of Lavinia Fisher. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the ghost story. I hope that you enjoyed the makeup look, and let me know what you guys think of it in the comments below. And if you guys have any, requests for this year, let me know in the comments as well. Give this video a thumbs up if you like this kind of content, and be sure to subscribe so that you are notified every time I post a new Halloween look this year. So anyways, guys, I hope you have an awesome rest of your week and weekend, and I will catch you later. Bye, guys.